very excited for you all to be here. Before we begin, we would like to acknowledge that our event takes place on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish First Nations, Squamish, Musqueam, and Tsleil-Waututh Nations, as well as the Katsi, Semiahmoo, and Kwantlen Nations. Each year, September 30th marks the National Day of Truth and Reconciliation. The day honors the children who never returned home and the survivors of residential schools, as well as their families and communities. ISAF is a testament to the collective efforts of a community that believes in the power of South Asian narratives. Our theme this year is Crossroads, to celebrate South Asian cinema and culture as a hub and a place where many roads intersect. Special mention to our platinum sponsor, RBC, gold sponsors Acme Group, Allure, Creative BC, Canada Media Fund, Telefilm, KPU, City of Surrey, and Warner Brothers Discovery Access Canada. We are here for two very, very, very special screenings. The first is the incredible short Flight 182, directed by Rippin Sindher, who's in the house tonight. And directly after Flight 182 is an absolutely brilliant feature film that I hope you all stay for, called Privacy by Sundeep Kanwal. I gotta check it out, it's just amazing. And before we start Privacy, we will do a quick Q&A with Rippin and the lead actor in the film, Sundeep Morrison, as well as Prabh Gill, who is directly related to the true story of Flight 182. It's a very powerful film, and it is very important to this area, to Canada, and I'm really excited for it to affect you and touch you the way it did us. And then, like I said, right after is Privacy, so check it out. Here we go. All right, I know I did a quick intro earlier of who you guys are, but can you just do a quick little I did?
Yes.
Please.
Hi, everyone. First of all, thank you so much for taking time to be here and to ISAF and all the amazing people behind it. We will get into that, but I'm Rippin. I'm the writer, director, and producer of this film.
Woo!
Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming and sharing this film, Flight 182. I'm Prabh Gill, the daughter of Delji.
Hello friends, ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਿਆਰ ਭਰੀ ਹੋਈ ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਮਾਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਇਹ ਸਾਡੀ ਫਿਲਮ ਦੇਖੀ ਆ My name is Sundeep Morrison and I play Mandeep.
Rippin, can we start with you? All right, so I know we've talked a lot about this. I was lucky enough to kind of be an ear during the process of you making this project. And you know, I don't think I fully realized until you and I talked, and it's possible that a lot of people in here don't even realize until you put the credit screens up that this was the largest mass killing to date in Canada and also the biggest in North America until 9/11, correct?
Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about the fact that it was such a huge moment in Canadian history, and yet there's still so many people who don't fully realize what happened and just about it in general?
Yeah, I'm gonna get emotional. So first of all, before I go further, Mandeep Garwal is also here. This is Daljit Uncle's son, so if you'd like to stand. And we have a lot of the Garwal family here, the Gill family, Sindher family as well. I am gonna get emotional. I didn't think I was. It means so much to me to bring this film here. I make films because I love filmmaking, and I really love community. And I really wanted to talk about grief, and I was angry at the world for not caring about humanity and for not knowing about this. And I've lived with it for so long, but I was like, how do we let people know, A, who we are, B, that this is such a big deal, because it went underreported in 1985, and people didn't care. And to be quite frank, people didn't care because there were race politics involved, there were international affairs, and people were too afraid. And thank you to Prabh and Mandeep and to everyone, because I said, it could have been any of us on that flight, any of us. And that's why this story is about all of us. And that is why if we don't tell stories like this, they're never going to be put up on screen. And not only is no one not going to care, but policy changes are never going to happen. And that's why I do the work that I do.
Can I ask all of you, really, because Sundeep, this also really applies to you as well. I know, Rippin, this is such a personal story for you. There had to have been a lot of fear in first approaching your family to say, this is what I want to do, and then to get them on board, then to figure out, how to really develop this the way that feels authentically about a family and not about those politics and not about all that other stuff that we're talking about, but just about the humanity of this family. And then for Sundeep, you have to now come into what is really a family affair. And not just in the fact that, Rippin has this personal connection with her family, but also Gurinder, who plays Daljit, is your brother. So what was that like for you? So for you to broach it with your family, and then for you to join the family.
No, you take it.
It's such a profoundly personal story, and I think it's such a privilege to play in anyone's world. But as a queer Punjabi Sikh Canadian person, to step into this world that Rippin crafted with so much intention and heart, and we say shardhe naal, pyar naal kam kita, which means she did it with a lot of love, tenderness, and respect. It was a huge privilege because we are all feeling the repercussions of this, the current socio-political climate when it comes to Sikhs, Canadian Sikhs, and Sikhs abroad, with those on the margin line. So I really stepped into this because it's a personal story, and to weave with her, I really leaned into the intention and heart that Rippin brought to the story, crafted.
And Prabh, if you want to talk, because you are absolutely right, and thank you for asking that. This hasn't gone away. If anything, this has come back into the news. Right after we finished production on this film, it came back in the news. And next year will mark the 40th anniversary. And in order to, in the short film, I was very careful about how you portray, what do you tell, you only have X amount of time. And we will tackle that in a longer version. But that's where Prabh and I really had a level of sisterhood. And everyone standing up here is a level of sisterhood. And I said, do you trust me? And what can I say? What can't I say? It's also like, it's my responsibility to make sure that people are represented authentically, but also that we do by what is right. What are the facts? And the facts are that innocent people died on that flight. Innocent facts, and the true facts are that families were shattered, So when we talk about terms, I take a huge responsibility, whether you're talking about separatism, whether you're talking about different movements, at the end of the day, or whether you call it extremism, it's like any act of revenge, at the end of the day, is an act of political violence. And so we had long hours, there are still families in these areas. So I treaded very carefully. You want to talk a little bit, Prabh, about just our partnership? Sure.
It was great working with Rippin. It was amazing sharing the moments and coming along on all these years. But revisiting the true tragic events was emotionally challenging but rewarding also. It was an honor to share all the true events that have impacted so many lives.
And we, I just want to kind of give the scope, because this film was made for $25,000. That was the grant. And it was done in 2.5 days. And that's really aggressive, super aggressive to do it practically and I just have to share, why community means so much to me. I wanted the casting to be super authentic. We talked about it. Remember, I was like, Kirtan, what do you think about this? Okay, what do you think about me doing a sign-up table at the Gurdwara? And like, what do you think about this? And you were just like, this is how you make a film, right here, sisterhood. But just to give you an idea, when you have such a low budget, but you want something to look and feel like that, like, I wallpapered that myself with the help of my community and like my aunts and uncles. I floored that with my friend who does construction, but I wanted those pieces, because we talked about, what did your house look like? What did it feel like? What was the doll? I wanted that Cabbage Patch doll so badly, and we got it.
And not only that, and I mean, I'm gonna light it up just for a hot second, but there's so many like little family details that I absolutely love too, like from the video camera, and also, this is gonna sound really silly, but Sundeep, you just grabbing the roti off the stove with your bare hands, like that's such a like mom thing to do. You know what I mean? Like there's just those moments that really feel very like deeply inherently in our bones as like South Asians, that I thought was also very intentional. And like, was any of that stuff that you talked to Rippin about as well, to kind of really make it feel like home too?
Yeah, I think that, this is a nod, and we wanted to honor the Punjabi culture, and we grew up with Punjabans in our family. And so I drew from my Biji, my Nani ji, my mom, of just that dance of making roti, or fulka, depending on what mood they were in. But all those nuances, but really Rippin's lens and attention to detail of, this is this mother, she's pregnant, she's got such an inner storm going on, and she's also trying to get through the day. So those little moments.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of the grant, because I do want to highlight that as well, I know you were a part of the CAPE, Janet Yang, Julia Gao short film program. Can you talk a little bit about what it was like to receive that, and then what kind of mentorship you received from that organization?
Yeah, I love that organization. It's an AAPI organization. So this was the second year they did it, and they award 4 scripts win a grant for $25,000, and Flight 182 was one of them. And that's really what kicked everything into gear. And I'm so grateful for that, because Janet's become a huge champion of the film. I was able to, I want to also say this, there's 5 South Asian leads of this film, and a ton of South Asian extras in every department that was curated. I employed women, pot creators, just all around, So, but since making this film, I recently just came off an episode of SWAT, where I had a heavy hand in a storyline that's going to come out in December, of similar in nature. And I was brought on to Criminal Minds, and people are very excited to see a longer version of this that's going to focus on the trial.
I think absolutely we'll be tuning in for that. Yes. Also waiting for Rippin's call on that. Can I ask you guys, I think, I know we have to start wrapping it up, but I have 2 more quick questions for you. The first is, you've brought it up yourself, next year is the 40th anniversary of this. What, for you, what does it mean to be telling the story that close to such a big anniversary of this? And do you have plans on what you kind of want to do for next year in terms of like honoring the memory of all the people whose lives were lost?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the 40th year. That's why I think it's been very carefully curated. This is literally the premiere of this film, and I wanted to do it in the hometown area of the origin story. So it will go on to the Sphere next month, and from there continue on. But I have a social justice campaign around the 40th anniversary that I am really looking forward to using to create awareness.
Brilliant. Amazing. And then can I ask each of you, just to wrap things up, can you tell us a little bit about any moments of joy in making the film, whether it was during development or during talking with your family and Prabh, anything for you, or even on set? Was there anything fun? I know, for example, you and I talked about in the flight, the airplane scene, that you were like, I'm gonna call up a bunch of friends to be extras. We had like a nice, funny little chat about that. Like, any moments of joy you want to share?
Yeah.
For me, this is my first film all in Punjabi, my Ma Boli. And I think it was so joyful to be rehearsing and to play with Gurinder. And so our moments of banter and just, it's some moments where we improv, but really leaning into my mother tongue, my Maboli was such a joyful point of this, of echoing my mom, but those small moments. So really, that's what I carry of the language. It was so much fun to play with.
For me, it was getting all the details together. At first, it was very emotional, but then after all, me and Rippin would talk and get all the items together that my dad had used before he left, the camera, the doll. So I'd get my brother to search the house for certain items, and like Rippin said, I wanted this anonymous, and we did keep it anonymous due to many reasons, but it was a long way.
And to just quickly wrap it up, absolutely. I think the best part is sharing this whole experience with community. I love it so much. At the end of every production I do, I personally make like roti and like Indian food, and then I serve it because it takes a village to make a film.
Yeah.
And so thank you all for being here, and please stay for the feature.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Prabh, Rippin, Sundeep. Beautiful film.